name's Chris. I would say I'm a beginner astronomer, and I've had telescopes growing up, little bitty ones, little tabletop models, but they were just, you know, small refractors. But this is a Celestron SLT 130. I ended up purchasing it from what I could understand online. But online there was nothing really from a beginner's point of view to tell you what the different things are involved in, different mounts, and what they do and how they track. And as a beginner's point of view, I'm going to go through and I'm going to critique this one and some videos and tell you about the options available on this telescope, and hopefully give the beginner a better idea of what he's looking for than what's out there now from what I've been able to find before I purchased the telescope. So this will be the first of many videos that I hope to put up with information from the beginner's point of view, and I hope you enjoy them and like them. Thank you very much.
Here we have the Celestron NexStar 130SLT with the go-to mount. The telescope is a NEWTONIAN reflector design with an alt-azimuth motor drive and includes the Celestron SkyAlign technology. When I was researching which telescope to get, I looked on several websites, and on most it was listed as a beginner's, and on a few it was listed as a beginner to intermediate telescope. So remember, you are not going to see planets and galaxies like most costly professional telescopes do, but I think it is still very gratifying and amazing view through this telescope. One thing I liked is this one looked less intimidating compared to some of the other telescopes in its size and cost range. The price starts just above $350 for this telescope, which includes OTA or optical tube assembly, tripod, mount, controller, star pointer, and two 1¼ inch eyepieces, a 9mm and a 25mm, along with a 2-inch eyepiece adapter. You can also find package deals with different accessories. I thought it just looked sleeker than other telescopes. The star point finder is a battery-operated red dot sight to help in slewing or moving the telescope from one object in the night sky to the next when aligning the telescope. The on-off switch for the red dot is also used to adjust how bright the dot is so you can find dimmer objects in the night sky. It also has two adjustment knobs to center the red dot into the finder's glass. The first one at the back bottom moves the dot up and down, while the second side knob moves the dot side to side. This adjustment allows for fine-tuning the alignment of the red dot sight to the view of the telescope, for slewing the telescope more accurately to objects for viewing. The NEWTONIAN design means that it uses a combination of two mirrors with no glass lenses in the telescope. The back primary mirror of the SLT 130 is 130mm. For people like me that don't know the metric system, it's just shy of 5 1/8 inches. I had to Google it. This is the mirror that determines the millimeter of the telescope. The focal length of the 130 SLT telescope is 650mm. The large back primary mirror collects the light that enters through the telescope and reflects it back to the smaller mirror mounted in the front of the scope, which is aligned to reflect the image to the eyepiece for viewing. When viewing through the eyepiece, the image is upside down and backwards. The OTA is made of lightweight aluminum with only mirrors and no heavy glass lenses, hence the NEWTONIAN design. The lens cap comes with a smaller opening that has a removable cap to allow you to cut down on the aperture or amount of light entering the telescope. It also has a convenient place to store the smaller cap built right onto the large one while it is off, so it is easier to keep track of. The go-to mount is plastic and detached from the tripod and OTA for a total of 4 pieces, including the accessory tray that makes up the telescope. It's a lightweight telescope for traveling and easily carried to location for viewing. The focuser is a rack and pinion with left and right finger knobs. The telescope is capable of using both 1 1/4 and 2-inch eyepieces with the use of the supplied 2-inch eyepiece insert. The back of the telescope has 3 adjustment knobs for collimation of the back mirror along with lockdowns at each knob. Collimation is the process of aligning the centers of the back and front mirrors and reflector telescopes for proper viewing performance of the optical system. It takes a special tool for aligning the mirrors that is purchased separately, but in most cases it does not need to be done for a while unless you say drop the OTA or it gets bounced around in traveling. The tripod is pretty sturdy, but it will shake, and if you have a good breeze it might sway in the wind. One tip is you can also help weigh down the tripod with something like bean bags for additional weight to help stabilize the tripod. The tripod has leg extensions of 1 section length, so you can raise the height of the telescope by double or anywhere in between the lowest and tallest setting. It also has a built-in bubble level to make sure the base is level when setting up the tripod correctly for tracking objects in the night sky. There is a detachable accessory tray on the tripod, so it can be removed to close the tripod legs for carrying it more easily. It also helps with support of the legs. The telescope base is an alt-azimuth drive, a simple 2-axis mount for supporting and rotating the OTA on 2 perpendicular axes, one vertical and the other horizontal. Rotation about the horizontal axis varies the azimuth or compass bearing of the pointing direction of the telescope. Rotation about the vertical axis varies the altitude or angle of elevation of the pointing direction. I had to Google that information. When slewing objects in the night sky, it first rotates on the azimuth direction and then in the altitude direction in 2 separate motions. The mount has the SkyAlign technology, which helps in aligning the telescope for finding and tracking objects in the night sky. Using the software Align installed on the hand controller, you can tell the date and time and location via the hand controller. This information is not stored when you power down the system, and will need to be re-entered when powering up the telescope the next time it is used. You have the options of either a 3-star, 2-star, or even 1-star alignment. With the 3-star alignment, you do not need to know the names of the stars to align to. Any 3 bright objects in the night sky will work, except for maybe a street light or a tower light. You also have the choice of solar system align. The steps involved to align the telescope scroll across the display on the hand controller. The hand controller has the direction buttons needed to rotate and raise the lower the OTA. It also has the adjustments to vary the speed of the built-in motor drive. One tip I have noticed while aligning the telescope using the solar system align, that when you slew the telescope for the eyepiece portion alignment steps, that if you can rotate the telescope clockwise along the horizontal axis and then up for the vertical axis as the last movements of the mount, it will track better for the moon or planets once you press the align key to confirm the alignment to finish aligning the telescope. Once aligned, the hand controller has a list of 4,000 objects in the night sky, from constellations, deep sky objects, to our solar system planets. It shows the list of objects that are viewable above the horizon by default, but can be configured to show all items. Using the controller, you can just choose the object you want to view in the list, or enter the ID of the objects and it will slew to the object chosen. There are also 3 tracking speeds to choose from, depending on what you're viewing. A side rail rate. This is the speed at which the Earth rotates for viewing deep sky objects. A solar rate for viewing the sun, and a lunar rate for viewing the moon. Each needs to be set via the hand controller. It does not change automatically, but the default when turning on the telescope is set to side rail. The newer NexStar Plus hand controller has USB connectability for use in a laptop computer with the proper software installed to drive your telescope. With a newer hand controller, you are not required to purchase the optional RS-232 adapter to use your computer to control the telescope. The base that mounts the OTA to the tripod of the telescope has the on-off switch along with a 12-volt power plug socket for use in optional battery pack or even a car cigarette lighter when you use the adapter to power telescope. There is also an auxiliary jack for using items like GPS devices or even an auto guider. It also has a built-in compartment that holds 8 AA batteries. One of the drawbacks to this telescope is there is no manual adjustment knobs to slew the telescope to objects in the night sky. So if your batteries or optional power tank runs out, the motor drive or hand controller malfunctions while out in the middle of your viewing session, you would need to go to a friend out with you who also has a telescope, or break out the binoculars to keep viewing the beautiful night sky. Clear skies, everybody.